Okay, so I'm back in the Catcher in the Rye, and these are the paired texts. And I didn't talk about this last time because I wanted to spend a little bit more time in detail. There's this section right here where it says when and how to pair. And you'll notice it says introduce the short story before students begin reading. When I scroll down, when and how to pair, it says have students read this text after they finish chapter 6. Down here it says after they finish chapter 7, after they finish chapter 9, 10, I'm sorry, after they finish chapter 22, and then have the students read this poem after they finish. And it has like the guiding questions and kind of the purpose for why we are doing it. So the reason I bring that up, go way back to mouse, is when I showed you my Google Classroom and my classwork, this one says chapters 1 through 6. So when I open this, it says be prepared for the Common Lit activities. It's linked directly from Common Lit into this assignment when I created it. And this chapters 1 through 6 tells the students to actually read chapters 1 through 6 and then be prepared again to do the Common Lit in class. Don't assign it for homework. It's way more engaging when kids do it in class. So with the guided, with the when and how to pair is incredibly helpful. With all the data that I showed you and how you can analyze the data. Oh, and within that data, I forgot to point out this important piece. Let's open this. And when we look at the answer key, you can also see this is RL4. So these are the Common Core standards, and all of the questions are aligned here. When you mine the data out, you can see where students are strong and when they're weak. And I can tell you my students are most weak in RL5 and, believe it or not, RL1. But they were strong in 3 and 4 throughout this entire unit. So that's pretty helpful as well. I think that just about sums everything up in terms of Common Lit and why it's great. Oh, no. I want to show you how to individualize just because I'm not sure exactly what you teach. So I'm going to go back to my classes. I'm going into WIHS. So we have an independent high school, and this is where I love to teach. We have an alternative school. We only take 25 students. They have to apply to get in. And the premise behind ours is we try to get them in 10th grade, and they can stay for the full 3 years, or they can go back to the high school at any time that they feel like the program's not working. We do remove students from our program if the program's not working for them, and it's all independent learning with one-on-one instruction from another math teacher, an aide, and then, of course, me. So within that, for classwork, we grade every 4.5 weeks, which we call a block. And I discovered the students actually loved doing this right around block 6. And I had students start talking about or thinking about mental health and how that works. And then they did these 3, and the kids are like, Hamill, I love this stuff. Can we do some more of these? And I said, yeah. So I created some more, and I had the kids write or do 3 assignments about what makes people good or bad, the tipping point for people, like when is their breaking point, and the thresholds of violence. This is what I was talking about, the questionable video. And then I had them, after they completed these things, they had to write an essay for me in classic 5-paragraph style with an introduction explaining the big idea, 3 body paragraphs summarizing what they learned, not what the paragraphs or not what the passages were about, but what they actually learned and what they thought about. And then the conclusion is tying all 3 of these concepts back together again. So then in our final block at the end of the year, students started asking for specific ones. So I actually went in and we conferenced and we sat down, and Joshua, for example, was into technology, and he chose this one, and this one. And then he had to write an essay about it. And there's more in here. And you can see I kind of followed this whole process down. So I just named it after the student, and I picked the 3 passages that they thought were going to be interesting. And then they all did that same process. So they read 3, and then they wrote me an essay of what they learned. So I was able to tailor it. It took me like 5 minutes to conference with the students to go through that entire process and actually assign them individual assignments. So that was kind of crafty as well. And that in a nutshell is why I'm a huge fan of Common Lit right now. And if you have any other questions, let me know.